Just thank everybody for coming out here today. It's a humbling experience to become the president of Darlington Raceway. It's quite an honor to be at this facility, which I think is one of the most iconic sports facilities in the country. And again, I appreciate everyone coming and look forward to working with y'all here in the days and months ahead.
Come on, guys, if you got questions, let's do it.
That's pretty much it.
Nobody else has questions?
What can you add to what Chip has already done?
Well, I tell you, Chip has done an outstanding job here in the 2+ years that he was here at Darlington, almost reinventing the racetrack and the weekend, the throwback theme, Labor Day weekend, has the entire sport excited. And I know, being from the NASCAR side, when that got announced, and then seeing all of the activation and the engagement from the drivers, the teams, the sponsors, the media, but more importantly the fans, that was really cool. And for him to be able to do that, you know, we just wanted to build upon that, continue to elevate Darlington as one of the iconic sports facilities in the country, and make that throwback weekend a destination place for not just NASCAR fans, but sports fans. And, you know, Labor Day has a special place in people's lives. It's kind of that spot before you know, the summer is kind of coming to a close and you're getting ready for fall and go back to school, but you need one more good experience, and we want Darlington to be that for the people around this area.
Kerry, you have a great job right now with NASCAR. The easiest question would be, why change positions and now be the president of Darlington Raceway?
Well, I tell you, sometimes life has some twists and turns in it. And when I first heard, when they first came to me and talked about this opportunity, I was kind of like you. You know, why would I want to do that? But very, very quickly, I realized and understood that this was going to be a special opportunity. And I already knew how special Darlington was to the state, to the sport of NASCAR. But the longer I talked to the folks that I was talking to and heard their vision, and to be able to stay in the state of South Carolina, I've lived here over 30 years, and to be able to stay in the state, be able to build upon the relationships that I've developed in this state, was really too good to be true. And knowing that I could come over here and follow in the footsteps of a guy who was my mentor, Jim Hunter, when I first came to NASCAR. He was a man who I learned so much from. I know how important he is to this area and to this racetrack. And, you know, that was a big part of the decision, to know that I could maybe follow, not in his footsteps, because I don't think anybody could follow in Jim's footsteps, but to be able to walk where he's walked, to talk to the people that he has talked to over the years was very, very appealing to me.
KT, how will you use your history in the state and your experience from your time at USC and the coaches that you worked with there, now in a leadership role here as president of Darlington? How do you call back on that experience to help you here?
Well, Phil, that's a great question, and I believe that in the 30+ years I've lived in the state, I've been fortunate to meet a lot of great people and keep those relationships even when I left South Carolina, to be able to keep in touch with the people in Columbia, the people at Clemson. Good friends of mine are working at Clemson University. I want to get to know the people in coastal Carolina a little bit better. I want to get to know the people down at College of Charleston, Francis, Marion, Furman. There's some great universities in this state, and to be able to use those relationships, Phil, that I was able to develop in the 20 years I was in South Carolina is very, very important. And you know, I've spoken to several people here today on the telephone that I worked with in South Carolina, and just to be able to know that they're our friends. They know how important Darlington is to the landscape of the sports world in this state, and they know how important it is to the sport of NASCAR. And so I hope to be able to rely on these folks to work together to not only make Darlington first and foremost, but let's make this state of South Carolina. Let's make it where people are talking about this state wow, that is a great place to go for a sporting event, or that's a great place to come visit. So I hope we are able to do that in some small way.
What is in your mind that makes a good racetrack?
I think it's the people that make a great racetrack, and the appeal for the fans. And certainly Darlington has both of those qualities. When Mr. Brazington designed this track years ago, it's one of the most unique tracks on the circuit. And, you know, the drivers love coming to a track that challenges them. You know, it's not called Too Tough to Tame by mistake. It is a tough place to get around. And I know that if you win the Darlington race, whether it be at the Xfinity Series or the Sprint Cup Series, if you win the Southern 500, that is a big deal for a driver. And I think it's certainly one of the crown jewels in our sport. And so I think Darlington has done a terrific job of kind of keeping that storied history intact, building upon it, and letting the new wave of fans get to know about the history of the sport. So we're growing our fan base. Our fan base is getting younger each and every day, and they need to know the history of this sport so they can appreciate it even more.
Kerry, I read that what you want to do, you just mentioned about the colleges, that those kids are the ones that you really want to go after, and those on the fence post.
Right.
If you can get them here, you can keep them here. That's
right. That's a great point. I think if you could get someone to come to a NASCAR event and let them see the experience of what it's like, that's half the battle. If you can get them to come to a race and experience a weekend, they're going to go back and tell their roommates. They're going to tell their suite mates. They're going to tell their fraternity or sorority brothers and sisters, hey, I went to the NASCAR race. That was cool. We ought to do that next time. Or we ought to start following NASCAR a little bit more. Maybe watch it on television some. You know, and we're, from a NASCAR perspective, we know we have to grow our fan base. We know we have to get into the junior high, high school, and college ranks. That's where our fans are going to be 10, 15 years from now. And so, yes, I'm very committed to being able to get into the schools here around this area, not just in Darlington and Florence County, but throughout the state, and tell them about the sport of NASCAR, tell them about Darlington Raceway, that this is an experience for them to have with their families. I don't think there's a better family sport going than NASCAR. And the family experience that's offered here at Darlington Raceway is terrific. And there's a lot of things that go on the track on a year-round basis, just other than the racing. And so, you know, we want to make it where the folks in this community can count on us to provide good family entertainment.
Kerry, in your role now, do you see yourself primarily as a promoter, or do you see yourself as an innovator? Do you want to move dirt and fill and add some things here to the track?
Well, that's another good question, Phil. You always were good at asking questions. You really were. But I think you've got to be a little bit of everything. You've got to wear a lot of different hats. And I'm going to be learning on the run. I'm going to have to rely on Chip Wow. He's going to have, you know, he's going to be a real natural resource for me in the days and months ahead. Clay Campbell, who's the longtime track president up at Martinsville, is someone that I'm going to lean on very, very heavily. And, because this is kind of new to me. You know, I've been on the other side a little bit, you know, every weekend going somewhere different. And now this is home. Now this has always been my home track, okay? But this is home now, and you know we're gonna get together as a team over the days and months ahead, and come up with a plan and a strategy on what we need to do, not just week to week or month to month. What do we need to do 3, 4, 5 years down the road to keep Darlington at the forefront? And we have that commitment. I know we have the people here, and certainly the fans in this area are rabid. You know, I always thought a NASCAR event reminded me a lot of a college experience on a weekend. The fan bases are very similar. The passion, the people involved are very, very similar, and the high level of competition. And so, you know, I can't think of a better place to be than in South Carolina, where you have Darlington Raceway is top mind, and you have such great college sports here in this town. And I want to find a way maybe of trying to marry those together and make the sports landscape in this state even better.